Hello, beautiful souls. So I figured I've been talking so much in shorts, maybe I ought to make another long one. Um, anyways, the egregore and the storefronts, and me talking about buying into certain thought forms that are lower entity, lower entropy, lower your energy, that kind of stuff. So what happens is, like, if you've got guilt, if you've got shame, if you've got pity, unhealthy pity, any of those lower resonating on the scale of vibe this, vibe that, it's a way for those things to enter. And some people would be like, I used to be, and just be like, you've got to be kidding, like, and just give up, and that's the whole point. But the simplicity of the good spell, not the gospel, though there's good points in that, it's just been covered up with fake Christianity, love and light, BS, trash religion, Romanism, Christian nationalism. Jesus left and took all his people with him. He did everything he said. He finished. He sat down at the right hand of the Father. The rest is our history, or whatever we make of it. So, storefronts. When you buy into certain ideas, you're buying into certain energy. Even if I think back of how I was so sick and I destroyed my life. I was so sick and I let my husband destroy me. I was so sick and I wasn't a good mom. I was so sick and I had my child, very young child daughter, helping to raise all my other kids, which in a Mennonite Amish community, that's considered to be something good. And the girls grow up thinking it's something wonderful, but in a different cult of culture, a petri dish of cultures, because that's what we are, to my daughter, that was a horrible experience. And I can't blame her for thinking like that. Or for making her try to put on an egregore or another cult or another thought form. See, I don't expect my kids to think like I think. And my kids have always known that I apologize and I grow with them. I apologize and I grow with them. In other words, I owe up to my shite. So the only barriers I had to break through was self-love and shame and guilt and all these little things that you're like, oh my goodness, like whatever. I will tell you how you let go of them. And others may consider you to be a narcissist, but if they're not awake to their soul, they are. If they're using somebody else's energy to not have to feel, then they are, okay? And most of these people have had egregore put on them since they were children, and that's why they get this other shite doesn't work, that they do all this yoga and this child this and delving into your shadow and blah, blah, blah. You need to delve into your shadow. The soul is in the shade or the shadow and functions unconsciously until you bring the light of the mind down into it and literally love it awake. Why do other people not talk about this? I don't know, but Jesus talked about it. It's in the gospel, or what Christian nationalism made into a God spell and then used it to destroy people with, because what? It was just an egregore after the fact. And they've done this with every single religion, every single one. So every single religion you can look into was okay in the start, and it entropied, and the angles of thought fell, or their experiments fell, or their making of genetic offspring as us or other messed up shite of Anunnakis or whatever you believe, fallen angels. That's what it is, fallen angles of thought, entropy. So the Bible is right to a degree, but it's right from their viewpoint, from their point of viewing, from their belief system as being the humans that are affected by these things. So, I'm sorry, I'm looking at my time, seeing how much time I've put into this so far. So, when you refuse to feed into those things, it changes. But how do you change it quickest? You bow to your soul. Now, the gurus and the yogis and all this, they teach you it takes a ton of concentration. No, it takes the mirror. You know how when you do mirror work, it makes you, it kicks up certain hormones when you do it in the dark or when you do it in the light, sun shining on the water, which, by the way, was something that saved me from my first cult group. Because I just downloaded information continually. Why? Because we're meant to do that. That's what we are. So sunlight on the water or mirror work in the dark, it's meant to enhance memory and ideas through the eye. The problem is Egregore want that knowledge, so then they try to make you think you're evil for doing it. You're a witch, you're a black magician, you're a blah, 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 and then you can't do it yourself. So the quickest way is to cut off all belief systems, all things you've been taught, bow to your soul or your spirit, whatever you call that, and love it. And love it. You've got to take time to love it. Every time you feel shitty, every time you feel hurt, you got to be like, I love you, whatever your name is, Bob, Tracy, Sheila. Bow to your soul. I love you, whatever your parents named you. Whether or not you like that, whether or not you like who you are, none of that matters. Your name was spoken over you at birth, which is also a form of egregore. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying a fact. But you need to love that persona awake. If you want to change your name after that, whatever, I don't care. But I think a name's a power tool, as well as my actuality or any other thing about me that I don't like. I use it as a tool to get what I want. And anyone can do that. But like I said, igniting this soul space so you don't have to feel the energies, feel the entropy. No, there are no belief systems in egregore holding you back except for the Mara and the Maya of here. You are an egregore. You are a consciousness. You are a thought form. Which one do you want to feed when you leave? That's up to you. But your petri dish, your culture, and your belief system, your I am that you believe you are, is what's going to feed. So if you can get to a place where you do love yourself and you are innocent by your own viewing upon the waters of the soul. Ra, the light, loves the soul. Ra loves Isis, right? Okay? Or whoever you want to say anyone else is, Ra loves all his own. Consciously love your soul. You bring light to the darkness, and as this energy expands in the center, and you will feel it is living, you break open something within yourself and it lives and moves and has its being, which is in the ancient Christian scripts, which are used for evil now. So, don't use them for that. They don't have any power unless you give it to them by, wow, we Christian, blah, 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 negative energy. You're feeding that egregore. Satanists, Christians, feeding the same egregore. Love and light BSers, feeding the same egregore. It's you that needs to feed this, because in the end, it is this that needs to live, move, and have its being, seal its contract here, or not the contract, but the volunteer to learn at this school, so that you can carry ever on and do what you need to do. Point being, whenever I'm angry, whenever I'm sad, whenever I'm whatever, unless I'm using that energy to open another chakra, which I'll talk about, I love my soul. I love you, Sheila. I love you, Sheila. I love you, Sheila. And sometimes I can do the ho'oponopono, and I never can say that bonobo correctly. Sorry, I'm silly. And I have a dry sense of humor because I'm neurodivergent. So I've learned to love and accept that in myself instead of putting it down, because people have used it against me my whole life. Can you imagine growing up autistic and having two narcissistic parents who literally look at you a certain way and they expect you, because narcissists are naturally like this, whether or not they know they're doing it. They're beaming out their BS from their egregoric mind onto you, and you're just supposed to get whatever they mean. And when you're impulsive and are autistic with ADHD, which I used to be as a kid, do you know what kind of hell it is to go through that? Or, in other words, school. Because I learned their BS is false love and light, and I don't want anything to do with it. They can take that wherever they're going and serve the egregore, which I know what they're serving, and I don't want anything to do with it. I curse that egregore all the time. That egregore is going to disappear and go out because it's a lie. And Masons and many other cults use all these entropied religions to keep up their entropied shite and sacrifice and make these egregore. Excuse me, voice crack. It's still morning for me. But anyways, storefronts, if you think of all of these egregoric thought forms that you buy into on a multifaceted level, because an egregore is like a chakra system, and it has many eyes and many ideas and many thought forms. And you and you are able to reduce those, each emotion, to a storefront window, and you close shop, that thing can no longer live, move, breathe, and have its being off of it. And then when, God forbid, you should happen to expose it in a cult group or your family group or here online or in the collective soul groups who are awakened, there's many who are not awakened. And so everything that happens in their life or that they see that's a lesson for them is their gods, their thought forms, their whatevers, their soul groupie, whatever they worship, putting it to the outside, they feed that. I used to do that. Now I am no longer that. If a master works with me, if an energy works with me, it's working for me because it has the same mission for a soul here on earth. So we're not separate. So if you're an ascended master or you work with ascended masters, you're an ascended master because an ascended master is in you, moving through you, working with you. And there's no separation until you separate it. And until you stop casting the energy of that outside of you externally and you bring it internally as your soul tribe and part of you, part of your chakra systems, your mandala of who you are in the light, then you're always going to give your energy to something else that somebody can use as their own egregore and their own thought form, like the violet ray or the pink or whatever. Those are colors that control the third eye, literally. Those egregore, the purple, the blue, the pink, all those, they cover it. So you only see what they want you to see. And this can be done with any chakra, but the biggest egregore, the eye in the sky, needs your eye information in order to live. So what do? You give up the I am and the seed of the soul and the communication of that to something external to you. And I don't care what any new age guru or any person you follow says about that. That is it, point blank. Their egregore wants your energy, whether it's through the head, through the third eye, or through the thought. They all are attached to something until you unattach it and you make that serve you and bow to you. And it literally, 1, 2, 2, 2, can and will. And then you take all your energy back to yourself. So no, I'm not a vampire. I'm never around anybody except my own family that calls me vampire. And so I have to stay hidden in my room, literally, like I don't want to see your face out here, literally. So whatever, they want to diminish me, they can't. And I'll talk about the other chakra, because me, I create from, my triangle in my lower dantian. So, or my lower body half, my lower chakra 3 or 6 or whatever you believe there exists down there and up there. Whatever you believe, you feed. So, when I know through my astrology and my body astrology that my place to manifest out of most powerfully, because I'm a manifest generator, I generate, that's why the cult came after me, and blocked that chakra and fricked me up mentally and cut my higher self off to feed their egregore so they don't have to feel anything they've done wrong and continue not to. So that has to be exposed or they'll hurt more people. End of story. And they will, like a psychopath, feel nothing. And they'll be actually elated by it because they're feeding something that is that. So that has to be cut off in whatever way, shape, or form it needs to be cut off. So when my triangle, my lower, where my uterus is, and I manifest from that point, in order to clear that, sometimes I have to experience deep-rooted, seated anger. I have to seethe in order to fully unblock that when it's been blocked. Now, do I feed into that in a way where I'm like gonna go do black magic and destroy somebody? No. I expose it to the light of the mind and the soul, which is in control of the third eye and the mind, and I tell it, my heart space and my creative center, which the heart space works with creative center, not just this, they should all function together. The loop should be up here and down there, all of them together, being conscious, creating consciously. Then I can say, this is how I feel, this is what I think. If I could only squash them like a bug. But I know it's the egregore that they sold their soul to. It's not them, they're just a puppet, literally a puppet of that here. And so we live in a world of puppets, of people who chose egregores over themselves Oh, I chose me. No, sweetheart, you did not choose you. You chose an egregore because you don't want to feel shite. So you just want to be here to manifest shite. Crap, junk that you literally hoard, which is crazy. Anyways, that's how those kind of people are. They hoard, but they never have enough. Because it's all going to the higher thought form, to the egregore, not to them. And then they can't figure out why shite doesn't work for them. And oh, poor me, oh my, oh. And then you've got all the groups of people that are like, anyone who's like, poor me, oh my, oh, I'm going to go and manifest off them. Yeah, so literally that's a real thing. So when you manifest from your womb or from your male, that center down there, your actual organs up, it's the most powerful regenerative manifestation place. But you've got to bring that in through the heart. You've got to clear the mind. You've got to fix the crown and things that are feeding off of any of those chakra. Love each chakra. Love it. Like, instead of sitting there, oh, I've got to fix this chakra. I've got to unblock this chakra. No, you've got to manifest, see it as unblocked. It's perfect. Even if you can't visualize and see, then you use mantra. You use music. Perfect, holy, righteous, divine. This is what my chakra are. I heal them. My chakra are healed. This is how I healed myself. I said, I'm healed. I'm healed. I've healed my jaw. I healed my teeth. My teeth straightening out themselves. This is a real thing. And I went through a lot of pain doing it too. Like, if you think reshaping your whole mouth and face is simple and you're not going to feel any pain, well, then maybe you don't. But anyways, further on. So you have to stop seeing yourself as needing fixing, and you have to speak unto yourself as a living soul, a living God entity for the holiest of holies of all, whatever you see that as. You need to love on whatever center you feel needs loving energy, not fixing. Do you go to your kids every day and be like, or your friends, you need to fix this. You need to fix this. Well, unless you're feeding off of them, they're going to dump you. Same with your body. I love my body. I love my soul. I love my spirit. I love my chakra. I love my strength. I love my might. I love my authority. I love my potential and my capability. I love it. Why? Because it loves me. And that is how stubbornly, as I've said before, and you've watched me heal, making these videos before, you have to be that stubborn. Because in any given moment, an egregore is going to be there through a person trying to feed off you. And you need to really literally look at it like the Mona Lisa and be like, my baby's got a secret. I did a video on that. That's why I'm making fun of that. Because I make fun of myself. I make light of my suffering so that it lightens, so that I can be enlightenment. So not to say suffering is not real and I haven't fully tasted of it. No, I have. But if I give glory to it and light to it, I will continue to devolve, and those egregore will continue to feed those people who are doing evil on this earth and have, because they are the men in black, they've embodied that, they have literally nothing. They don't feel when they APE with an R, little children. They don't feel anything when they do anything wrong because they sold out to an egregore, consciously or unconsciously. Black mages do it consciously. They don't want to have a conscience. They don't want to feel. They want stuff. They want dust. They want entropy. They want to suss out entrails, and they don't care what they have to do it. So in order to fix things, the light has to be brought in. Like the light of Christ or Christos or Krishna or whatever you call your light, your Ra, your ray, has to be opened up to shine on that shite and to expose it so that they feel everything they've done. And when that happens, it draws all the power from those little egregore, those little agigi, and the big egregore, the eye in the sky. So the agigi, the slaves, they disappear. They come off the chakra. And that person has to feel every single frickin' thing they did to you. And they can't blame you for using black magic, because I don't even do send it back anymore. I'm just like, that ain't mine. I ain't accepting that. Go back to your friggin' Egregore papa. And I don't care if it gets mad and destroys you, because I don't care. If you're an Egigi and you chose to be a slave master for Egregore here, that's your problem. That was your choice. It's not mine, but thank you for the enlightenment. And this is how you have to own all your storefronts, your chakra, your eyes. Thank you, Tennile Talks, for helping me when I woke up with this dream, putting it all in place. It's a channel. She's a great person. So that's a shout out, and I'll put it in the mentions. And where I mention a person's song, I don't know if that'll get taken down, whatever, I don't care. I make videos like I make poetry, like I speak, like I open my mouth, and it's just there. So I can't like chat and rap in front of people, but I can do it in my home. You know why? Because I'm feeding those Egregore. Like I used to think something was wrong with me because I didn't want to share. Well, yeah, because I'm in the middle path of the middle paths, and the end, one end doesn't share its energy at all, and the other end is but a beast it serves. I can never say the other, so I'm just not going to say it. I used to stutter super bad, so I'm proud of myself, how much I've healed. How much I have healed has gone from being a non-human entity player, a non-conscious player, to a fully conscious player who has embodied who I was meant to be as a soul without all these Egregore. Not this, but this. I am plugging in to my own soul, to my own creative centers. Nobody owns that but me. And so I feel these energies no matter how bad and deeply I need to feel them. I need to express them. I need to laugh about it. I feel it, and I let it go. I let it go to where? I let it go to hell, to go back to the Egregore that wants me to feel those evil things and will only gladly help me create more if I'm unconscious. And so will all the people that serve it. So will all the unconscious players whom black magicians body hop through in order to accomplish their shite, because we're all energy. We're not bodies, we're energy. We're not the body or the mind. We're the entity of the soul. We are energy. We're the light on the water. And we're amazing things, and so are you. Thank you, beautiful souls.